Hey guys, Jason here. So, have you ever noticed how humans are completely obsessed with words? You think of it like this. We write books, laws, contracts, we carve on stone, we type on screens, and we think if it's not in words, well, it can't be real. But the universe doesn't speak English or Sanskrit or really any human tongue at all. The universe speaks in vibration, in frequency, and light. So why are so many contactees saying the exact same thing? They're saying, I was shown symbols glowing in the air. I received knowledge in a flash, like a download. There were no words, just an instant understanding. Or, I saw writing, but it wasn't writing. It was alive, and it actually pulsed. Now, this isn't new at all. This is completely ancient. The Vedas weren't written at first. They were heard. Sruti, vibration pouring into silence received by the rishis who were actually tuned in. And then what did they hear? Well, they heard mantras, sacred syllables, sounds that weren't about meaning, but they were actually about resonance. Because the truth is this: words are costumes. Sound is the essence, and light is just sound at a different speed. And that's why glowing symbols appear in visions, encounters, and even in deep states of meditation. They're not about alphabets. They're actually transmissions, downloads of vibration, the raw data of awareness, if you will. But here's the real funny part. Humans always try to translate them. What does the symbol mean? What's the dictionary? Where's the Rosetta Stone to decipher it all? But you can't decode them like that because they're not for the mind. They're for actual awareness itself. And the contactees, well, they know. They say, I didn't think it. I just knew it. So they have instant comprehension and not through analysis and not through resonance at all. So it's kind of like music. You don't need to translate a symphony. You actually feel it. It moves through you and it bypasses the mind entirely. And here's the Vedantic turn, right? Awareness itself is the receiver. You don't have to figure it out. You have to get quiet enough to actually hear it. And then that's why mantras work, right? Not because of what they mean, but because of what they do. How they vibrate through the subtle body, tuning you, almost like an instrument itself. The same way contactees describe being tuned, aligned, and even upgraded. So it's not language as information, it's language as transformation. So think of it like a software update. A phone downloads one, you don't read the code, you don't actually translate it either, it just runs. And suddenly, your system works. Differently though. And that's what the language of light does. It's not for reading and it's not for upgrading. And the truth, it never stopped broadcasting at all. The universe has been humming, it's been singing, it's been beaming this language since the beginning of time. The only question is, are you actually tuned in? So here's what experiencers keep saying over and over and over. I saw letters of fire shining in the sky, or the walls of the craft were covered in glowing script. But it wasn't static. It moved, and it even breathed. I can't explain it. It wasn't like reading. It was like remembering. And you know what? That's the key. Not learning, but actually remembering. Because the language of light isn't alien. It's absolutely ancient. It's older than alphabets. It's older than sound. It is the vibration of awareness that's always been humming. And that's why it bypasses thought altogether. That's why contactees say, I just knew. There was absolutely no translation, no dictionary, just a direct knowing. And I think you've actually felt it too, in more ways than one. The first time a mantra vibrates through your chest, you feel tears welling up. For no reason. The moment music hits so deep, you don't understand why, but something in you recognizes, well, let's just call it home. Or then the silence itself in meditation that suddenly fills with a hum, like a current, a resonance that has no source but seems to pulse through everything. And that's the same current, the same broadcast, and the same language. Here it is. You don't need to travel in a craft to hear it. You don't need a glowing symbol to remind you. It's happening now and always. Awareness is singing to itself right now, in this breath and in this silence. But we're too busy listening to thoughts, to words, to the endless amount of chatter. And the chatter drowns it out. Not because the hum actually stops, but because we're tuned to the wrong station. So think of it like this. Think of it like a radio. The song's already broadcasting. You just have to tune the dial. The universe never stops singing. You just forgot how to listen. And that's why the symbols actually show up. That's why beings transmit downloads. And that's why glowing scripts burn into vision. They're reminders, people. Cosmic nudges. They're signs saying, turn the dial inward. Because the language of light isn't on the walls of the craft. It's in the walls of your heart. And it's in the fabric of awareness itself. Vedanta calls this Shruti. Not human composition, but eternal vibration heard when the mind is only completely still. And then when you hear it, you don't say, oh, now I know something new. No. You say, oh, I always knew. And that's why it feels like remembering, right? Because it was never outside. It was always your own self broadcasting the entire time. So here's the big secret, guys. The language of light isn't foreign, and it isn't out there at all. It isn't locked in glowing symbols on the walls of some craft either. It's happening right now, inside you, through you, as you. And that's why the rishis called it Shruti. Not something invented, something heard, something revealed, received when the mind went still enough to just tune in. So the beings, they may show you scripts and they may flash downloads into your head, but the point isn't the content. It's the reminder. The reminder that awareness is always broadcasting itself, that you're both the sender and the receiver. And that's why people describe it as knowing without words. Because truth, it doesn't need grammar. It only needs silence. So, if you're still having a problem with this, think of it like this. Think of sunlight through a prism. White light splits into colors, red, blue, green, whatever. They're all distinct. And they're all extremely vivid. That's human language. Broken pieces, fragments of the whole. But if you trace them back, all the colors merge again, back into pure light. And that's the language of light. No fragments, no divisions. It's the source itself. And the joke is we spend our lives debating which fragment is right, which scripture, which translation, which alphabet. It doesn't matter. Meanwhile, the pure light is shining the whole time, waiting for you to look up and waiting for you to listen in. And when you finally do, when the chatter pauses, when the silence hums louder than thought, you realize the language of light was never meant to be read. It was meant to be lived, embodied, and completely recognized. And that's why the downloads, they feel instant, why the symbols actually feel alive, and why contactees come back changed. Because it's not information, it's transformation. The alien scripture isn't teaching you a story. It's tuning you back to what you've always been. And then once you see that, the chase actually ends. You don't need the glowing glyphs, and you don't need the actual translations. You don't even need the decoder ring. All you need is silence. Because silence is the Rosetta Stone. Silence is the place where all symbols return. And silence is the script that never fades. So the next time you hear downloads, the next time you dream of glowing letters, the next time you feel wisdom hit faster than thought, do this. Just smile. Because you're not learning. You are remembering. The language of light isn't out there. It's in here. And it's in you. Awareness. Broadcasting itself forever. Namaste.